Well, here we are again. And I tell you, I look forward so much to this time together, and I hope you do too, because it's just good to be with friends and to talk about God together. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And here we go. Ruth Ann Polston, Light the Winds. Well, that's what that song says. We're marching to Zion. Well, I guess that is what we're doing. And sometimes our feet get a little heavy on that journey. And we're going to talk about some people with heavy feet. And I guess if I was going to give this a title, I would say the wilderness mindset. And have you ever been in a situation in your life? Oh, now have you? How many times are you in one tonight or today? When it seemed like you're not going anywhere. No, it seemed like your best days are behind you. And sometimes we just think, oh, it was better back there. And so we kind of get the good old days in our mind, and we think, oh, they were lots better. Well, we're going to talk about that kind of mindset today. And you know, in the Bible, I just love the word because it gives us the graphic picture. If we put ourselves in the same circumstance, we'll say, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. So, that's what we're going to do tonight. Now, you know that God had a plan, and that was to get the children of Israel out of Egypt into their promised land. Now, He's got a plan for you and I too. And you know what that plan is? To get us out of our wandering and get us out of our sins, because that's what that represented in the Bible. They had to get out of their slavery to sin and the whiplash of the taskmasters of the devil. Okay, now the positive aspect is you got to get into the promised land. Now their promised land was going to be Israel, but our promised land is heaven. Okay, you got the picture? Now, in this, right behind them, about 3 days, is the Red Sea. Now I tell you, that was the division point. And it was so great, it was so glorious and everything, and they're still in somewhat of a euphoria. But they hadn't counted on this journey between the promised land and between the wilderness. Because between there it was a wilderness. And you know, a lot of times in our life, we get into that wilderness mindset. And sometimes we just go in circles and go in circles. Seems like we're not going anywhere, not doing anything, not making any progress, and you don't like it out there. Well, it was a little bit worse than that, because they're only 3 days into their journey. 3 million Jews. And you know what? They didn't have water. So, what did they do? They did what a lot of people do. Who can I blame for this? Guess who? Leadership, of course. So they said, Moses, if this was your idea to get us out of here, at least we had something to eat back there in Egypt. It's your idea that we're out here. And he said, we don't have any water. So they came over the crest of the hill. There was water. Oh, they made a dash for it, making a circle around the pond, and all of a sudden their faces were down and they came up spitting and hollering and said, no, 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 no. The water is bitter. They couldn't drink the water. And so, what did they do? That's when they turned on Moses. They said, you know, we could stone you for this. So, you know, he kind of got her on the same page. Sure helps you on the journey to have somebody that's got God on the same page. And they really were on the same page together. So anyway, what are they gonna do? And while they're fretting and they're complaining and they're saying, can't we go back? Can't we? This is awful. Now you see, on our journey, sometimes we forget there's some bitter water. There's some bitter circumstances on the way. And the Bible said, don't think that's strange. You're still in this world. And this world does have some bitter experiences. And what if, you know, somebody dear dies? It's like my experience. Yeah, I was in the wilderness. I remember the first week. What did I do? I didn't know what to do. So I walked through the house, going to sleep, wailing. Finally I said, you know, this is going nowhere. No, I knew God before. I knew God afterwards too. And God and I are together, and we're going to make it to the promised land. And it changed the whole focus of my life. But you know, I think sometimes the bitter circumstances, they cause us to lose focus. And so then we start staring at our circumstances and we say, I can't go back and I can't go forward. Because all of a sudden I said, who am I? And I had an identity crisis. So, you know, we have to stop and say, who am I anyway? I'm out here, and he said, I've lost the dearest one, or my children are going astray, or lost my job, and my health, maybe, whatever those bitters, it's common to all. And the Bible said, don't think it's strange. And then over in another gospel that follows that, it says, for you are appointed. Too. Now, I can handle appointments a whole lot better than I can being a victim. That victim complex is no good. But you know, I can handle appointments if I think that appointment is God is in it, because something's going to happen. Now, this is what happened. So Moses said, all right, Lord, here we are. We're on our way, and we're going to finish. But he said, what are we going to do about this water? So he said, Moses, look over there. Now remember, there's desert all around. There's a bitterness. Nothing much grows out there. He looks out there and he just sees sort of a squatty little tree. And he said, see that tree? He said, get that tree over here. So, just probably a little sapling or something, but he goes and he gets the tree and he brings it back to the water. You know, when I was thinking about this before Greg came tonight, I thought, Lord, that's exactly what you did and do for us. Because we too can't go back, can't go forward. Our waters are bitter. What'll I do? What'll I do? What'll I do? And then all of a sudden, I know what to do. What do I know what to do? And he said to him, and I thought of the scripture that said in Isaiah 53, he said, he shall grow up before him as a root out of a dry ground. And then it goes on to tell us about Jesus and the cross and the tree and the smiting and all he did. And you know, when it winds up at the bottom of that, you know what it says? And it pleased the Father to bruise him. Why? Why? He said, because the Father saw the prolonging of his days. Yeah, he was going to rise from the dead. But you know what? He said, he saw the prolonging of his days. What are we as believers? We're the prolonging of Jesus in the earth. That's right. When we're the Jesus people. And so it said, it pleased the Lord. So God is always looking at the finished results. And he was looking at that day before Jesus ever cried out, it is finished. But he was the root out of a dry ground. So Moses takes this root and this sapling and dips it in the water. And then he turned and he said, now drink. And so they stooped again and they drank it. The water is sweet. Do you know what'll sweeten your water? Put the tree in. Put the cross in. Give it the meaning. Yes, there's a resurrection coming. If it's coming for Jesus, there's a resurrection for you in your circumstances. He doesn't leave us there in one long crisis. You know, it was so strong with them that they even named it. Some people are so forever into their bitter experience that they give it a name. Mara. Have you ever just named your circumstance and your bitter experiences? Sometimes they almost outweigh the good ones you think about. And so God has to say, change your focus. Now I'm going to give you one more illustration to thrill your heart. And it's this one. They came to another place. And Israel, once again, they were just really bellyaching. I mean, they were negative. And so God said, you know, I got to teach them a lesson. So he said, we'll just let some of these snakes that are on the ground, we'll just let them, let them crawl around their legs a little bit and maybe nip them ever. And so Moses said, really? Yeah. But he said, well, they cry. And pretty soon they said, Moses! Did you ever wonder why those people didn't do some of their own praying? It was always Moses. And sometimes, you know, we got to get in there and do our own praying. But here they are, Moses, now tell God, pull these snakes off. We'll behave ourselves. So he says, I tell you what you do, Moses. Get a pole. Same thing as the tree. That pole, it wasn't a metal pole. No, it was a tree pole. Put that pole up. And he said, and on the top of it, he said, let's have a brazen serpent. What does that mean? That means that Jesus took our curse. It represented the curse. He took the curse of sin. He took the curse of death. And there it was. And he said, tell the people, if they will look at this, the snakes won't bite. But if they lose their focus, he said, and look down at the snakes of life, he said, they'll bite them. And so the people that day, they renewed their focus, they looked at that, and they gave praise, and the snakes were over. Now, what is it? What's the bitter thing this morning or tonight? What is the bitter thing that you said, I got stuck there. Now I'm wandering. I don't have any direction now. There's a tree. Put it in the water. It'll become sweet. And you know, there's a wonderful verse that says, to the righteous soul, every bitter thing is sweet. So, let's change our focus. what those circumstances are. But I do believe there are some bitter things this morning or tonight that are going to be changed. Not that maybe they'll all go away, but Lord, sometimes, God, we have to make them go away because we will choose to go get the tree and to put it into the bitterness of the circumstance. Maybe it's just the fact that they don't even know you, don't even know how to do that. So we want to help you with that. Jesus, I give you my life. I give you my soul. I give you, Jesus, you died for me. That tree that you were nailed to, no, it wasn't the tree. It was who was on the tree.